The following episode can be viewed on the YouTube channel Bernie or Bust Television.
Good morning, USA, and welcome to another episode of the Bernie or Bust Show. Apparently, the comfortable suburban Democrats are not going to come to their senses in time. Don't say we didn't warn you. Gaffelighting. Notes from the Edge of the Narrative Matrix by Caitlin Johnstone. Gaffelighting. Noun. Meaning, when narrative managers insist that obvious signs of serious mental deterioration are just innocuous gaffes. Example, I know what dementia symptoms look like. Stop gaff-lighting me. God, that was so awful. I know, I never want to think about 2016 again. Well, the good news is the 2020 election can't possibly go any worse. True. I mean, the Democrats would have to literally run an actual clinically diagnosable dementia victim to do any worse in 2020. Dismissing Biden's neurological misfires as gaffes is so gross. Oh, he's always had gaffes. Yes, he's often said dumb, gross things. He's never previously been incapable of remembering elementary facts and stringing words into coherent thoughts as we are seeing now. Those aren't gaffes. If Biden had been exhibiting these neurological misfirings his entire life, some Media Matters hack would long ago have published a compilation video of the most egregious highlights from his long career. The footage doesn't exist. There's footage of Biden saying things that are politically embarrassing in retrospect. There's footage of him saying things he should have thought through more, and there's some slight occasional stuttering that never stood out as abnormal. Nothing like the mess we see today. The entire 2020 US election may have come down to a race between time and the progression of Joe Biden's dementia. I don't think anyone who is sincere and honest with themselves can truly believe that Biden beats Trump. I know the Democratic establishment doesn't believe it, and I'm pretty sure rank-and-file Democrats don't actually believe it deep down in their guts either. It's fascinating how much mainstream argumentation amounts to nothing more than screaming, "Don't talk about that!" at people. I am going to keep saying Joe Biden has dementia, thank you very much. I don't care how much you tell me I'm an ableist, ageist monster. I don't care how much you tell me I'm not seeing what I'm seeing. I am going to keep saying Joe Biden has dementia, because he has dementia. You don't get to run for the most powerful elected office in the world while exhibiting clear and undeniable symptoms of dementia and just have people not talk about it. That is not a thing. Everyone should be talking about this. It's so dumb how many lefties are reluctant to push this. This isn't mocking some elderly celebrity for developing Alzheimer's symptoms. This is footage of someone being pushed toward the most powerful elected office in the world while clearly losing his mental faculties. Take control of this story now, or Trump will later. It's not wrong to point out that the man the DNC are pushing into a train wreck campaign against Trump has undeniable dementia symptoms. It's not ableist to say someone running to command the most powerful military in the history of civilization exhibits cognitive decline. Seize control of this narrative before it's too late. Rank-and-file Democrats have exactly two choices. Number one, break the mainstream silence on Biden's obvious neurological decline and start an honest, open conversation about it on mainstream platforms. Or, number two, wait for Trump to do it. And you know damn well he'll make it dominate news headlines. Keep making noise about Biden's dementia until he either disappears or takes an Alzheimer's test on live television. By 2020, we should have been debating which US politician gets the most credit for implementing universal health care and which of the green energy systems they implemented have been the most successful. Instead, we're arguing about which politician has the worst dementia symptoms. That's kind of fucked. My husband did nursing care for dementia patients for 15 years. He's followed Biden's career, he's American, and his jaw keeps dropping at the ridiculous gaslighting comments I've been getting from Dems saying I'm crazy and Joe is perfectly fine. Joe is not fine. Stop lying. Liberals. The deep state is a crazy right-wing Alex Jones conspiracy theory. Also liberals. Oh, just quit your fussing and vote for Joe. So what if he's a bit forgetful? You know, it's not like presidents really make the decisions anyway. It's more like the CIA makes the decisions anyway. Democrats. All that matters is defeating Trump because he's a horrifying, unprecedented, dangerous threat and he's going to get us all killed. Those exact same Democrats. Don't worry about Biden's cognitive decline. It's not like it actually matters who the president is anyway. I actually like Dementia Joe a lot more than I liked aggressive, racist, jingoistic Joe. His befuddlement gives him a softness that wasn't there before. I imagine Dementia Joe would be much more pleasant to spend time with, at the assisted living facility where he belongs. I don't know, Kate, that auto worker didn't think he was softer. Unreasonable anger also is a sign of dementia. It's not fine or normal for one of a nation's only two political parties to pretend it lets the people choose their candidate and then turn around and coordinate to deliberately undermine the candidate with the most public support. Anyone who tells you this is okay is lying. Coordinating to undermine the campaign with the most support is coordinating to undermine the will of the people. That's never okay under any circumstances. Ignore all attempts to spin this to the contrary. The only people who hate the media are Trumpsters, Bernie bros, and people who research facts. Progressives. Okay, we found a compromise candidate in Bernie Sanders. He's still too establishment for many of us given our dire circumstances, but we understand it's important to be pragmatic and establishment. Here's Joe Biden and a dick pic. Progressives. Compromise. I've been harshly critical of Biden, and as a result, I've received aggressive online pushback from his supporters, but I'm not going to cry and claim this invalidates Biden's campaign because that would be manipulative, intellectually dishonest, and breathtakingly stupid. And then they ran an actual, literal dementia victim against Trump, losing in a landslide, and that's why there's an ice-free Arctic this summer. Why did you let them do that, Mommy? Well, darling, they kept saying we were being very rude and we didn't want to offend anyone. Calls for civility and politeness are always anti-populist in nature and always arise from the fear of the ruling class that the commoners can wake up at any moment to their strength of numbers and overthrow them. The sane response to a large faction of your party's base becoming angry is to get curious about what's angering them, come up with a plan of action, and fix it. It's not to give them a derisive nickname, declare their grievances imaginary, and say their anger is the problem. Elizabeth Warren is waiting to see which way the wind blows so she can endorse whichever candidate will give her the biggest career boost. She's just waiting there, biding her time, tasting the wind to see where it's blowing with her forked tongue. And now, Kate, we can add Tulsi to that list. Most adults are aware that their government has lied about things. It's only propaganda and the human tendency to compartmentalize away from uncomfortable facts, which keeps them from connecting that dot to the possibility that their government is lying to them currently. Activists, alternative media, and oppositional journalists have a duty to be interesting. If you want to wake people up, you've got to get them looking at you. It's not enough to be smart, informative, and correct. You've also got to be catchy, funny, entertaining, and enjoyable. Not everything the U.S. establishment does is a considered strategic maneuver. Often it's just the frantic, confused flailings of a dying empire. The neocons sold the idea of a last-ditch gambit to shore up unipolarity, and it failed, and now it's all unraveling in some crazy ways. If an individual has been caught using a weapon to harm members of society, then society is justified in forcibly disarming that individual in self-defense. This is true whether the individual's weapon is a knife, a gun, or billions of dollars. Russian. Adjective, meaning accurate in accordance with known facts about reality. For example, saying the U.S. armed terrorists in Syria is a Russian talking point. There's Russian online chatter saying the Democratic primary is rigged. WikiLeaks is a Russian asset. Synonyms: true, factual, correct. Oh, Kate, you are a treasure. At the beginning of Kyle's video here, he plays the Lawrence O'Donnell clip where Lawrence is talking about leverage. Lawrence has said that the left has never had anywhere to go, and they always get forced into a corner by the establishment Dems. He doesn't call it lesser evilism, but that's what it is.
Hey, I'm not saying it, they're saying it. Lawrence O'Donnell said it. I didn't say it, he said it. He said, hey, if you want to have any sway over the Democratic Party, you have to be willing to not vote for them. You have to try to drag them to your position. If they feel like you're a firewall and they could depend on you, they're not going to do Dickie McGee's acts for you. Okay, noted. So, listen, just as I told you guys in the last election in 2016, what did I say? I can't tell any of you what to do. It's up to you. You have your own mind. You make your own decisions. You have your own litmus test, your own policy, ideas. And that's all fine and dandy. But what I can do is tell you what I plan on doing. And What I said in 2016 was, me personally, I live in New York. New York is a safe state. I am not voting for Hillary Clinton, even though I think she's a lesser evil, and I'm going to vote for Jill Stein. But what I did say is, if I lived in a swing state, I would suck it up and vote for Hillary. That's what I said. Because, again, I thought it was rather uncontroversial to say she is objectively a lesser evil when you look at, she wouldn't have pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement. She wouldn't have pulled out of the Iran nuclear agreement. Her Supreme Court picks definitely would have been better. There are a list of policies where you say, it's not even close on this, she's better. Fair enough. What I plan on doing this election, unless there are major changes, is not voting.
I don't know why he thinks not voting is better than voting for a Green Party candidate. He also didn't say, I'll leave the top line blank and vote down ballot. That also would be better. Not voting is not revolutionary. I live in a Rust Belt state. I live in Pennsylvania. Some Pennsylvanians I know personally were so pissed off that they robbed Bernie last time they voted directly for Donald Trump. Yes, some of those friends of mine are grubby populists, but they're out there. They exist. They're real. Joe Biden is not an option. Nobody can vote in good conscience for Joe Biden. Joe Biden knows where his bread is buttered. He knows who pays him. Credit card companies, big oil, big pharma, all the big banks. We know who Joe answers to. Pernicious trade agreements, kids in cages. That's all Joe. You can't vote for Joe. You can't be a good person and vote for Joe. I'm sorry, you just can't. You also can't be a good person and vote for Donald Trump. So don't vote for those people. They're evil. Don't try to figure out if one is lesser than the other. Just don't vote for evil. What I plan to do is vote for the Green Party at the top of the ticket and then vote for as many progressives down ballot as possible. And I will do my homework and I will figure out who the true progressives are down ballot as best as I can. And then if they suck up to power and end up selling out, I'll get rid of them the best I can in my local elections. At least, Kyle, you're not going to vote for Biden. You're not going to suck it up and vote for Biden. And at least you're not differentiating what people should do in safe states versus unsafe states. Not voting is better than voting for Biden. Not voting is better than voting for Trump. But I'd say your followers would have clearer consciences if they decided to just vote for somebody who matched them in their values. Figure out who it is and then do it. If you consider yourself to be a true Bernie or Buster, then our job going forward is to hold accountable the asshole, comfortable suburban Democrats. Yes, you're assholes. Yes, we need to share this show with the assholes. If you can vote for corporate Democrats or corporate Republicans, you're an asshole. You're thinking about your pension, you're thinking about your retirement, you're willing to stick it to the young people, you're willing to stick it to the working class, who are lower down the rungs of the ladder than you are. Yes, you're an asshole.
It's just, the contrast between Kamala offering $250 versus Mitt Romney.
Yeah. Yes, $1,000 four times more. Yeah.
What land am I living in? But that's what happens when you have a Democratic establishment that is captured by affluent suburbanites. And as we talked about yesterday, what do they want? All they want is to do enough to be able to get back to brunch. They don't care about the underlying issue.
Yes.
They don't really care about what's going on for their working class brothers and sisters. They want to do enough so that they feel like they did something, and they have to calibrate it perfectly, right? So that things can just get back to normal as soon as possible. So they're not interested in this more broad scale structural change. And the danger is that people realize that, you know what, the government actually could do things to help me in my life. They realize that the government could have a role in securing them economic rights. That's the danger here. And so no one wants to go too far and show just how much the government could actually be doing for you, not just in a crisis, but on a daily basis.
Yeah, and I think
corporate Democrats such as Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Kamala Harris are talking about here the Band-Aid approach, the incremental approach. Don't do too much. Let's just get back to brunch. That's the problem we had in this election cycle. If it were not for the wine track Democrats, we would have Bernie Sanders right now. We can also blame older black voters in the South. Their church pastors told them what to do and they did it. In both cases, it's fear-based decision-making. We've got people who are above the comfortable line and they want to stay there. and they're afraid of so-called radicals like Bernie Sanders because they think maybe they'll have to give back some of their comfort. It doesn't matter if you're black or white or brown or yellow or purple. If you're trying to protect what you have from those lower down the ladder, then you suck. You're a zero-sum thinker, you're a fearful thinker, and the net result is that you suck. At this point, the Bernie or Bust campaign probably has moved into the second stage. The third stage is I told you so. The second stage is getting ready for I told you so. So to get ready for I told you so, if you want to do that too, share articles like Kate's, Gaffelighting Notes from the Edge of the Narrative Matrix. Make sure we made it crystal clear. It's all time-stamped on the Bernie or Bust show, so we can go back. You can go back and show them when you share these articles with them, when you share the videos with them, when you share the podcast with them. You can go back, it's all time-stamped, and you can say, look, I told you so. I told you he had dementia. I told you that he didn't give a fuck about the working class. I told you. No, it's not the Bernie bros and sisters' fault. It's your damn fault. You comfortable Democrats. You gaslighting, gafflighting Democrats. It's your fucking fault, and we told you all along. Get on board the Bernie or Bust train. Come get on board the Bernie or Bust train. Once you hear that clickety-clack, there ain't no time for turning back. Oh, get on board the Bernie or Bust train.
The preceding episode can be viewed on the YouTube channel Bernie or Bust Television.